to our Essentials video on how to change the visibility of components depending on indicator selection in InstantAtlas HTML edition reports. In this video, I will describe how to change the visibility of components on an indicator basis for HTML reports. This video complements our support document, How to Change the Visibility of Components Depending on Indicator Selection in InstantAtlas Reports, which can be found in the desktop support area of My InstantAtlas. In the following example, I will demonstrate how to change the visibility of the time series chart and bar chart on a per indicator basis for HTML edition templates. This method is particularly useful if you have a dynamic report which contains indicators with both time series data and categoric or non-time series data. Using this method will therefore avoid the time series chart displaying not available when a categoric or non-time series data indicator is selected, but will display the bar chart instead. So here you can see we have the config XML file of our report opened in the designer. And for the purpose of this example, we are going to configure the layout to display the time series chart and bar chart on top of each other, so that for a defined indicator, the time series chart will display, and for all other indicators, the bar chart will display. We now need to change the z-index of our two components we wish to change the visibility for. The JavaScript code that is needed for the change of visibility to work will only run when you change an indicator, and therefore it will not be run on the startup of the dynamic report. This means that when the report is first viewed, it will display the chart with the highest z-index. Therefore, what we need to do now is set the higher z-index for the component you wish to be the default for startup. In this example, this will be the bar chart. So I will increase the z-index of the bar chart to be 5. If we now look at the time series chart, this has a z-index of 3, so the bar chart is guaranteed to be displayed on startup and will be the default for when we have not defined the time series chart to display for an indicator. We now need to add in the custom JavaScript code to trigger the chart components to display on a per indicator basis. This code will be added in the custom.js file, which can be found in the report folder. The code that you need to insert into the custom.js file can be found in the support document, How to Change the Visibility of Components Depending on Indicator Selection in InstantAtlas Reports, which can be found in the desktop support area of My InstantAtlas. It needs to be inserted underneath the line IA report equals report, which should be line 11. So this code states that when a property show time series is defined as true in the metadata worksheet of your Excel workbook for a specific indicator, which we will go through in the next step, then the time series chart will display for that indicator, and for all other indicators, the time series chart will not display, and therefore will display the bar chart instead. Now our final step in this example is to add an additional metadata element to the metadata sheet of your workbook for each indicator you wish to display the time series chart. So in this example, I wish to have indicators 2 and 3 to display the time series chart. So the element types will be indicator. The elements will be indicator 2 and indicator 3. The metadata element is show time series, and the value is true. So if we now export the spreadsheet to JSON format and save over the old data.js file in the report folder. Now refresh the atlas. You can see that the bar chart is displayed on startup, as previously we set it with a higher z-index. Now if we change the indicator to indicator 2, you will see that the component will automatically change to the time series chart as we had set it to in the metadata. We can now change to indicator 3 and it will stay as the time series chart as we had defined it to. And if we change it to indicator 4, you will see that it has changed back to the bar chart, as we have not defined it to display the time series chart. So that is how easy it is to change the visibility of chart components on an indicator basis for HTML reports. If you wish to apply this method to other components, then you can do this by changing the code in the custom.js file to pick up the different components of the dynamic report. To do this, you will need to know the IDs of the different components. In this example, they were bar chart and time series. And you can find the IDs of the different components by opening the config XML file of the report in a text editor. For example, you can see ID equals Data Explorer and ID equals Filter Explorer, and so on. Replacing these IDs in the code snippet from the custom JS file will then allow you to change the visibility of various other chart components on a per indicator basis. It is also possible to change the visibility of chart components on an indicator basis for flash reports. This follows a similar method, and a detailed example is explained in our support document, how to change the visibility of components depending on indicator selection in InstantAtlas Reports, which can be found in the desktop support area of My InstantAtlas. If you have any questions on how to change the visibility of components depending on indicator selection in InstantAtlas HTML edition reports, please do not hesitate to contact support@geowise.co.uk.